Caicedo's name out your mouth because he is the real deal. Another win in the bag. We are another game closer to the end of this long yet really quite quick feeling season. 23-24 season is coming to a close. Sunday 4 p.m. UK time. It is done. It's over. It's finiti caput. We've got some games to focus on. The Tottenham game. I'm going to be watching the Arsenal game, the City game, and the Chelsea game, of course. Keeping an eye on United and Newcastle at the same time. But it is really down to the Chelsea and the Tottenham, Sheffield United, Bournemouth on the final day. But until we get there, it's time for another 5 things. What are the 5 things that we learned? Before we get into it, I'm not going to ask you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. But what I am going to ask you to do is in the comments down below, let me know what 5 things you learned from the game. Take as long as you like. Maybe do it, maybe don't. Who knows? I'm just trying something to see what you guys learned. And as I talk away, you write it down. Come up with the ideas. Well, you might already know what you made of the game yesterday, but I will get into it. Number 1, the 3rd best record in the league in the last 5 games behind City and Arsenal, who, let's be honest, doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that these two are obviously fighting for the league. And so the fact that we are, of course, coming up against these two sides, maybe not in terms of actual league success at the moment in fighting for the league, we are doing very well. If the season started from our 4-1 loss against Liverpool back in January, we'd be 3rd. We'd be 3rd now. And I'm not one for hypotheticals, but these are good signs. They are good signs. And whilst, again, not entirely... I must say I am beginning to adhere to the style of play, to what we see, to the Pochettino way, whether he's here for the long term or for the short term. What we're seeing at the moment, especially over the last few games, especially since January, we've had consistent highs, but with a few little lows here and there, unnecessary losses. But honestly, I think if we'd won the games that we, the Burnley and the Sheffield United game, and a few other ones here and there, we lost to Wolves unnecessarily as well. We'd be in even better position. And obviously, I was going on about Lewis yesterday, saying, if buts and maybes, but hypothetically speaking, looking in hindsight, we could be better off than we are. We're not. Obviously, that's down to circumstantial situations, the injuries and so on and so forth. But from next season, it's a fresh start. It's a new beginning. And hopefully, just hopefully, well, not just hopefully, realistically, I don't want to come into every season thinking, we're going to get top 4, we're going to challenge for top 4, but the stats shouldn't lie. And if the facts and the stats are to be taken into next season, you would bet your bottom bippy that we're on for a good old run next season. It's all about how we start the season rather than how we end the season. It's all well and good being good now, but we need to be good at the beginning and the middle and the end. I'm not expecting to win the league next season, but a top 4 charge should absolutely be on the cards if we're to go off what's happened over the last 5 months since the beginning of the new year. It's something to bear in mind. My expectations are still high, regardless of the fact that the board and Pochettino and so on have tried to no end to lower our expectations. You could argue that my expectations are lowered now because I'm happy with 6th or 5th, but that's more realistic based on what we have right now, rather than, I was never thinking that top 4. I mean, I did at the beginning of the season. I predicted that we would get 3rd, I think, or 4th, but again, in hindsight, a bit of a silly sausage, aren't I? Number 2, Nkunku, if he can remain fit all season next season, will be one of, if not our most clinical players. And I know you're thinking, well, duh, obviously, but we've seen it now time and time and time again. When he's played, he's scored in games that matter. Albeit one was a consolation against Liverpool, but if I remember correctly, all the other goals, they actually had some significance, including the one yesterday against Brighton. Just pops up when it matters most, and we need players that can do that, especially at the beginning of the season. It seemed like we were just struggling to find that final product, to get the ball just in the back of the net, quite frankly. It was always a bit of a situation where you'd find us, knocking on the door with oven mitts, I think is a saying that I was using all of last season. But more often than not, we're scoring more goals. I mean, our goal difference, if it's to be taken seriously going into next season, you would assume, I don't know how many of our attacking players are going to get let go and how many attacking players we're going to let in. But if we keep the majority, you would hope we'll see similar numbers, if not better, next season. 75 goals scored this season. It's one of the best, I think, that we've seen for a few years now. Obviously, last season it was like 48 or not even that. I can't remember. It was diabolical. I can actually check the 22-23 season. 38 goals scored, 57 conceded. Obviously, our defensive record is pretty shambolic, but that's not what I'm going into right now. 62 goals conceded. Jesus. But if we can utilize Nkunku and get him to show us his balloon more often, careful, pause, then, brighter days are, of course, ahead. We just pray for Nkunku's balloon. That's all we want next season. Number 3. I don't know how many times we need to say this realistically, but Cole Palmer just continues to prove not only the doubters wrong, but also fans of his, much like myself, much like you. Don't lie to yourself. You were surprised that he had that in his locker, in his arsenal, to for lack of a better term. I thought I'd seen it all. I thought we'd seen it all this season. Cole Palmer with his left, with his right, from the spot, from a free kick. I thought there wasn't much else we haven't seen from him in terms of what he's capable of. But to now add an aerial threat, a heading threat, a timed and well-lofted glancing header with a cross at pace kind of threat, reminiscent of your Drogbas, of your Anelkas, or, of your Johnsons, your Hasselbanks. You've seen it before, but never did we think we'd see it from little old Cole Palmer, eh? He just keeps getting better and better. And frankly, if he isn't included in the England Euro squad, then I don't have anything else to say to Southgate, quite frankly. I've been kind of on the fence, but I've been one of those people that have said that the majority of England fans have been treating him harshly. I think Southgate's had the brunt of it for little to no reason whatsoever. He's obviously been one of our most successful managers for, lacking in silverware. He's also taken us to the highest highs that we've seen in my lifetime and many others' lifetimes. Not to make this about England, I might do some England videos but in the build up to the Euros, maybe some previews here and there, just to keep the old the whistle wet. But again, don't let Gareth on that plane to Germany. If he doesn't include Palmer on that list, get him gone. Get him gone, please. Number four. And if you haven't done so already, please do like the video, hit the bell notification, subscribe. We are already into the 8.1s, nearly at 8.2 thousand. Number 4, Caicedo. And I'm unsure if it's his haircut or what, but he was incredible once again. The meme artists, the meme police must have been ready. They were chomping at the bit to post this, that, and everything else if he'd had a nightmare and he came through with flying colours in this game. He got his obligatory yellow card, which, it wouldn't be Caicedo if he didn't. That said, 93% pass accuracy, completing 51 of 55 passes. 3 chances created, just absolutely running the midfield throughout, and not for the first time. Not for the first time. More often than earlier in the season, he's definitely stood out more to me now, even more because of his trim. But at the same time, I feel like a heavily underappreciated player when he plays well. I always compare it to Jorginho, or Mikel, or one of those players. Do you know what I mean? Where if you don't really know what they're doing, and we're winning or playing well, chances are he's doing bits that you just don't really notice. That said, he was just everywhere yesterday. Really, really good game. The flop shouts were always ludicrous, to be honest with you, but never more than right now. And I'm still seeing videos of people getting asked their flop 11s, and Caicedo's name keeps getting mentioned, and in the wise words of Will Smith, keep Caicedo's name out your fucking mouth because he is the real deal. He is so good. You watch him week in, week out, you'll understand it. He is such a joy to watch. He's a real talent, and next season is going to be even scarier, but not for us. Someone call an ambulance, but not for me. And lastly, Pochettino keeps yapping away to the media. Both, I think, at fans, but mainly taking shots at the board, kind of, I guess. It's a never-ending feud between them and the board, or him and the board. Pochettino said this is not my team, this is Chelsea's team. You know my style after 15 years of working. How we want to play in possession. It's not important what I'm going to say after you are going to twist things. And I don't know why he's so angry. I don't know why he's so angry. We discussed it last night on the post-pod on playback.tv/Alex Goldberg. And I said that maybe, just maybe, he's just fed up with the lack of clarity in terms of his position come the end of the season or come the start of next season, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he wants to make it abundantly clear to everyone, you, me, the boards, anyone at all, especially the board, that this is not a team of players that he has picked to play for his Chelsea. So, despite that, and the injuries, and the age range that he goes on and on about being a young player, lack of experience, he has somehow, some way gotten us to a European spot with 1 game remaining. I think I can't remember when it was, but I think it was like 10 games ago. We were 16 points behind his former club, Tottenham Hotspur, and we are now within 3 points. And we could, on the final day, come away snatching the 5th place if Sheffield United, who have lost their last 5 games at least in a row, if they could come away with a victory and we win, 5th place for us. It's a big ask. It's nothing short of impressive is what it is, and also a miracle. But he's been taking shots for a while, and I think it's still 50-50 as to whether he stays or goes. I don't think he knows whether he's staying or going. I don't know whether he knows if he's going to leave or stay. In his own mind, does he want to leave? He's made it kind of clear that he could walk at any point. Who knows? Who knows? Who really knows? With that said, again, here is the table. Here is how it looks coming into the final game on Sunday. Obviously, it's been mentioned that should we finish 6th rather than 5th, and Man United win the FA Cup against Man City on the 25th, I believe it is, then we will miss out on Europa League football. So something to remember, I would say, a reminder for you. There we go. The second to last, the penultimate 5 things we've learned of the season. It's obviously been a quite recent series that I've started, but hopefully into the new season, I will be doing it on a regular basis. Thank you. Thank you. I must say, thank you for all your amazing support the entire season. It's been a blast. It's always a blast, but this season, you know, it's been obviously a different one, moving to the byline from Chelsea Fan TV, and there's going to be some changes next season as well. None quite as big as that, but obviously there will be the watch-alongs on this channel next season. Still 1 game to go, though, so I won't get too soppy about the progress of the channel just yet, but it's still to come. But until then, thank you for watching. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. My name is Harry, up the Chels. Get your comments down below. What's your 5 things you've learned? And peace.